Welcome, class, to Unit 3, Consumer Behavior, How People Make Buying Decisions. The definition of consumer behavior is that consumer behavior considers the many reasons, personal, situational, psychological, and social, why people shop for products, buy and use them, sometimes becoming loyal customers, and then dispose of them. So, in short, consumer behavior is everything that adds up to the reason why customers purchase something, use it, come back to buy, and also get rid of it. Or if it's no longer in use, then they dispose of it. Marketing professionals try to answer these questions for you. But think of it yourself, like think of it on your own. Why do you buy the things you buy? How did you decide on what you bought? And where and when do you like to shop? These are some of the essential questions that you can ask yourself. And then, as marketing professionals, these are the questions that they try to answer for their target consumers. How do marketing professionals get these answers? Companies spend billions studying consumer behaviors. Data is collected in many ways. How many times you visit a website, the blogs that you post, or maybe that you visit, social networks that you're part of, psychological profiles, and these can be done through possibly surveys or emails that have questionnaires on them. And then last but not least, surveys as well. One way to think of why customers choose to shop where they shop is situational factors, or are situational factors. So the store location is important. Some consumers, they want efficiency. They want to be able to get to some place fast and get out. So the closer your store is to these types of consumers, the more business you will receive. Physical factors. Is your store small? Is it large? What types of, how is it organized? The shelving? What does it look like from the outside? Crowding, of course, we know that most of us don't like to go someplace where it's crowded. Everybody's like back to back. For example, during Black Fridays, those are always very hard to get to, but it seems that people are willing to fight the crowds to get into those Black Friday sales. But if there's no Black Friday sales, there's not a lot of us that want to go in when we have to push our way through or be shoulder to shoulder to another person. Social situation, maybe, for instance, you have an event that's coming up, maybe a birthday. Where are you going to buy the presents? Where are you going to buy the cake? Those are situational factors that marketers have to think about. The time of day. When is the time that you see consumers coming to your place, your business the most? And then track that and then make sure that the items that you want to sell are out in the eyesight of your consumers at the time, at those busy times of the day. Then their reason for purchase. There could be somebody who just wants to go to a grocery store, buy a gallon of milk, and then go home. That's all they went there for. But then there are those of us who like to go in, scan the aisles. We just want to buy stuff for the house. We don't have a specific reason. Maybe your parents told you, hey, go grab, I don't know, shampoo cleaners from the nearest Walmart. So that's what you do. You go and get it. And then you have to consider the mood of your consumers. If you see that a certain time of the day, people are more relaxed, more open to taking in the surroundings, then you focus on the location, the area or the environment at that time to make sure that those items that you want to sell right then are available to the customers. And you can track this through either by observation or through surveys. You can have a survey in the front. Sometimes they have a little card that they hand out to their consumers, and it'll say like, "Oh, how many times have you visited this neighborhood, Ralph's? Do you have any suggestions for our new renovation? How does it make you feel when you come in here?" Things like that. Mood also can be um, controlled by the weather outside. Right now, it's summer and it's really hot in some places. It's just hot. So, a lot of people, when it's hot, they're not in such a great mood. They're just like, I need to get in and get what I need to get and then get out. But there are some that are there in your business because your business has air conditioning. Maybe it's comfortable to just walk around there. Be aware of that and make sure that you're catering to all of these situational factors and marketing at the right time or the right moment so that you can get your products out there to your target market. Some physical factors can be controlled by design, others must be accommodated. Atmospherics include the physical aspects of the selling environment retailers try to control. For instance, the store layout, the music played, lighting, temperature, smell. The uncontrollable parts is the weather outside. If it's hot outside, it's great if your business has air conditioning and nice lighting inside, a cool atmosphere, maybe an more open layout so that they are not like feeling too squished together and when they're hot, when they're just coming in. I like to make the example because most stores in the mall, if you ever go to our malls, I know you do, but most malls have individual stores. And these individual stores have different layouts, different music that is played, lighting, temperature, and smell. So take two examples and then you think about those two examples and then come back and tell me like what do you think are the differences? So Hot Topic and Tilly's. Hot Topic, the store in the mall, or Tilly's, the store in the mall. And I'll let you look that up and look at the differences. And you'll see that each store has their individual store layout because their target markets are very different. I'll let you guys look at that. Social situation, circumstances in which consumers may find themselves. Factors such as obligation, expected behavior, or a need to impress may compel purchases. And that's the need to impress hasn't been so great as it is right now. And that's because due to everyone's involvement in social media, there's a need to look good, look a certain way, and to have certain products. And when you're doing those uh, photos or videos, short videos, or when you're making a longer video, um, you want to make sure that when you're doing that, you look good. The things that you have in the location that you're filming, they are conducive or they connect with your message that you're sending out to your viewers. So look at the videos or um, photos that you usually look at on your social media and see just the different types of items or products that you see in that picture or in that video, and see just how much this person or persons are trying to impress through the purchases that they made by showing you what they have in their environment. Time includes the right product in the right place at the right time. So, a good example of this is during the holiday season, and usually it's supposed to come a little bit before the holiday hits, but lately it's been like months and months ahead of the holiday. So, the nearest holiday that we're coming up to is July 4th. So, during this holiday, there's a lot of fireworks. It's America's independence. So this is the time when you see a lot of images of the flag, the colors of the flag. So if you go into Walmart, you'll see a section, and it's usually close to the front, where you'll see that there are all of your equipment, products, supplies for July 4th. Then you can also think of the season. It's summer. What do people wear at this time? What do people eat at this time? Those are all things that coincide with the time. Reasons for the purchase. Is it an emergency purchase? Is it a gift for a special occasion? Is it going to help complete a task? Is it needed quickly? These are all things that businesses look at. What type of product are they providing? Is it a convenience store where there's just ready to serve meals? Really small products that you can just get and go. Then you need to make sure that, okay, am I serving like hot dogs and little taquito rolls, or do I need to make a more elaborate meal for my consumers? Gifts or special occasions. Am I, is this a birthday? Is this a wedding gift? Things like that. These are all consumers have reasons for their purchase most of the time. Sometimes we just go into a store and say, wow, this is great. And then we buy it and we go to our car and we're like, wow, I never even needed that. But most of the time, consumers have a reason why they walk into your venue. So you need to be aware of who are your consumers and why they would come and shop at your location. Mood, as we talked about, people's mood temporarily affect their spending patterns. Some people enjoy shopping, others less so. A sour mood can spoil a consumer's desire to shop. So it's really important to observe the behaviors of your consumers, especially their mood. So if you can be able to like pinpoint like, oh, this is what really irritates them, and they'll just want to get out. you can change that in your business, in your company. Mood also is on mood also affects online purchases. So there's some of us that all of us all of a sudden late night we're like, oh, I want to look what Amazon has, and then we start putting stuff into our cart that we don't even need. Those are moods you can think about. Okay, so sometimes I have my late night customers. They might be just binge shopping. Go ahead and put these out. Things like that you need to think about. Economic situation. People's economic situation affects what and how much they buy. People reduce spending during economic downturns. Stores with lower prices like Walmart fare better during economic downturns than high-end stores. And this is true right now because we're going in, there's inflation, and there's also the risk and potential recession that will come after it. People are more careful with what they're buying right now, but not necessarily are the low price stores faring well during this time. It's it's definitely odd to think about because earlier this I think it was around April or May when dollar no 99 cents only stores were declaring bankruptcy and they were going to close locations here in Southern California. And that's surprising because inflation is happening right now. You would think that people are moving towards buying at the dollar store or 99 cents only stores or places like Walmart. But that's not true. People are still choosing to purchase where they want to purchase, but they may have limited the amount that they purchase. So they're willing to go purchase at other high-end stores, but not as much as they would if they were to go to Walmart or 99 cents a month. Changes in the demand for various products during the pandemic. So all of us have experienced what we went through during the pandemic. You see the list on the one side, increased demand, which is on your left side, and then on your right side is the decreased demand. So these are things that at the time businesses were having a hard time trying to transition to the different demands that were happening during the pandemic. First of all, we had the stay at home orders, which made us unable to go out to our stores. So what would we choose to use instead of like walking into a store? We either use our Instacart or our Postmates. Those are delivery services that were really popular during the pandemic. Indoor dining wasn't allowed. Some people tried to go to indoor dining, but then it was always like, okay, now you guys have to stop doing this. It has to be this way. So as you hear all these regulations coming down from the state or federal government, then businesses had to say, oh my goodness, how am I going to do this? They had to build tents outside of their businesses. They allowed people to come and sit outside of their businesses. They had delivery services coming to their business and delivering out to individuals. It was a hectic time, but that was the time when people had to change totally change their business and marketing plan in order to continue to make the profits that they hoped to continue to make even during the pandemic. And a lot of places did close because of this situation. Personality. It describes a person's disposition. It helps show why people are different. It encompasses a person's unique traits. I don't have to go into this because I know all of you understand personality. All of you, each of you in the class, have your own personality, and it's individualized. You have unique traits. And these are things that marketers try to pinpoint if you are their target market, because they want to make sure that, okay, I'm looking for this type of person that has this type of personality. And then if it's you, you gravitate towards that business. These are the big five personality traits. You have openness, how open you are to new experiences, conscientiousness, how diligent you are, extroversion, how outgoing or shy you are. So, extroversion, even though it doesn't have the introversion uh, part of it, it includes outgoing and introverts. Agreeableness, how easy you are to get along with. Neuroticism, how prone you are to negative states. So, if you look at the first letter of each of these words, it spells out ocean. You can look that up. There's a lot of personality tests that use this big five personality traits. And it's usually, you can just type in OCEAN, ocean, and you'll find personality test. Self-concept. Marketers have had better luck linking people's self-concepts to their buying behavior. Your self-concept is how you see yourself, be it positive or negative. For example, the U.S. Army Be All That You Can Be slogan. Your ideal self is how you would like to see yourself. Prettier, more popular, more eco-conscious. People buy products to enhance how they feel about themselves. So it's not just being prettier. Maybe you want to do something different with your look. Maybe you want to be more active. These are your individual self-concepts, and marketing needs to take this into consideration and make sure that who they're targeting, their self-concept aligns with what products or services they're providing to the public. This portion is a little, not a little, it's dated because it only has two genders. For this class, we are just going to use two genders. But in in how can I say this? So in this class, we are using two genders, women and men. But in the general scope of things in Santiago Canyon College, there are numerous genders, and that is one thing that marketing has to start to learn to adjust their marketing campaigns, also to provide more evolved uh, advertisements or marketing materials. Because no longer can you say, oh, it's only women and men. That's not true. There are multiple genders, numerous genders. This one slide cannot even name all the genders that are um, out there at this time. But for the sake of this, for this lecture, we're only using women and men. So this is just a generalization that they believe that women tend to try on everything and shop till they drop. And men see what they want and buy it and prefer sites with pictures of products. We can generalize this and say, okay, this is exactly what this is. But that's not true. You can't just put people into a bucket and say, all of you, because you are this gender, you do this. No, that's not true. There are some women who just go in and buy something and then get out. There are some men that love to shop till they drop. And so this is just a generalization. It's not in any way to say this is exactly how marketing is. This is just a generalization, and to not take it into uh, the exact way that marketers are thinking. So gender-based shopping differences appear to be changing. Younger, well-educated men are more likely to shop for groceries than in the past, and men today are also more likely to buy diapers as well as change them. So it's not just those two things that men are changing the way they do things. All genders, you see them doing the same thing that each other gender is doing. People are going in to get their eyebrows done. They're getting manicures, they're getting pedicures, they're going in and getting facials. Um, some people are going in to purchase groceries that never purchased groceries ever in the past. Yeah, and it's not just well educated. This is like really dated, and I apologize for it. Age, a consumer's age influences their purchase decisions. So chronological age is how old the person is in years. The number. Cognitive age is the age a buyer perceives himself or herself to be. So think of this like you may be 40, but you think in a way that a 30-year-old would think. Or you may be 30 and think the way a 40-year-old would think. So consumers' age are really important because if your target market is a certain age group, then you want to make sure that your products, services are aligned with the ideas and the wants, needs of that age group. But you also have to remember if you're targeting 30-year-olds and a person is 40, but they identify themselves, their cognitive age is 30, you have to also take that into consideration as a marketing professional. Lifestyle. Companies research on consumers' lifestyles by asking them, what products do you like? Where do they live? How they spend their time? What are their priorities? Where do they go other than work? Who do they talk to? What do they talk about? Psychographic combines lifestyle traits of consumers and their personality styles, their attitudes, activities, and values. Excuse me. Motivation. It is the inward drive people have to get what they need. And a very good visual of motivation is the Abraham Maslow hierarchy of needs. So this is just a fun little graphic that shows examples of the different levels of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So at the very bottom, right here, you have the physiological: breathing, food, water, sleep, homeostasis, excretion, sex. All of these things are just the physiological things that we do as human beings every day. And as long as we have everything here, we can move on to the next level. So at the next level, we have safety, which is security of body, of employment, of resources, of morality, of the family, of health, of property. So do we have a house? Do we have a stable employment, stable income? Are we living where we believe and practice the same way as our neighbors or our community or our environment? Is my family safe in this area? And if not, what do I need to do to make them safe? Do we have healthcare? And then, of course, is our property, are we renting? Are we owning? What do we need to feel safe? If we have all of these, we move on to the next one, which is love and belonging, friendship, family, and intimacy. If we have all of those, we move on to esteem, self-esteem, confidence, achievement, respect of others, respect by others. Most of us, as we get into our adult to older adult, we are right here. There, there are a few of us who can admit that we reach self-actualization, which is morality, creativity, spontaneity, problem solving, lack of prejudice, acceptance of facts. So at this level, you have to have been like, okay, I am at peace with myself. At that level, you are just above everything else. It is true that you can go from physiological to safety, and then let's say you lost your job and then you can't pay for your mortgage, so you lost your home. So then you can eventually move back down to here until that safety is complete, then you move up. Also, same for everything else. You can move between these different levels. You move up, or you can also go back down to the previous one. This is just a visualization of how marketers can create their products. What does my target market need? And you think of, oh, I'm selling home insurance. Okay, so I need to target those that are good with their safety. Perception. This is how people interpret the world around them. It involves 5 external senses: taste, sight, hearing, touch, and smell. So this is pretty straightforward. Each of us perceive things differently. And that was part of the syllabus. That is the reason why I enjoy teaching dual enrollment classes, because with the different age groups and generations combined together in one class, this provides different perceptions of the topics that are handed out to you. Same as products. Everybody has a different way of seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, or tasting whatever they encounter in the world or they are purchasing out there in the world. So it's not the same for the person next to me or the person 5 miles away from me, even if we may have the same like job, same place we live in, maybe we're the same age. Perception is a really big thing. Perception and retention factors. Selective attention, filtering out irrelevant information. We do this a lot when we're going through websites. We look at the websites and we think, okay, I don't need any of this stuff. I'm going to ignore it. As marketing professionals, you have to realize that this is happening. People are looking at your website and they're looking and they're saying, oh, okay, that's not what I need. And they'll bypass the information that you have out there for them. Maybe it involves product sales or service sales. So be very aware of that. Selective retention, forgetting information that contradicts your beliefs. If you don't believe in conservation or going green, so if a website or a business that you shop at suddenly goes green and you're like, I'm not really in the mood for that and I don't believe in that, then you're not going to be shopping at that location anymore. Marketing professionals need to keep that in mind because when they're moving on to something new, they need to make sure that it aligns with their target market's beliefs. Shock advertising is surprising stimuli that can increase retention. For example, the Centers for Disease Control use shock advertising to try to convince Americans of the terrible toll smoking has on people's health. And all of us have seen the non-smoking commercials, and they are shocking. I would I would tell you guys, go look at the examples of those commercials that come up on TV because a lot of us don't watch TV anymore and we don't really, when a commercial comes on, we're like, okay, I need to get a drink or something like that. We move away from the TV. So look up on YouTube those smoking commercials that they have out there. It's definitely shock advertising. Then we have subliminal advertising, which stealthily embeds messages in media. So in your movies, in ads, there could be subliminal advertising, advertising. And this means that they position a product, service, anything in a place within the movie, and then it flashes. It flashes before your eyes, and before you know it, you're like, I think I want some McDonald's. If you rewatch that movie, you'll see that McDonald's, maybe the McDonald's sign was showing every so often throughout the movie. And this was banned by the Federal Communications Commission because people were saying it's a form of brainwashing, a form of mind control. But it still happens to this day. Like, it doesn't happen as obviously as it did before, but now it's like embedded really, really, it's positioned really well within either series, shows, um, movies. If you ever go watch a movie, just watch carefully and see what you see in that movie. And this is the subliminal advertising is the opposite of shock advertising. The shock advertising, it says, bam, there you go. That's what happens when you smoke. If it was a subliminal advertising, it would show like flashes of maybe somebody having an oxygen mask, maybe somebody suffering from chronic COPD, like things like that. So this is a video of an example of subliminal messages in signs and other types of media. So let's see if it'll play.
Hello everyone. Welcome to Business School 101. Many consumers may not realize that subliminal marketing messages can be present in their everyday shopping experiences. For instance, when visiting an Amazon retail store, consumers may encounter the company's logo, which contains a hidden message. While the logo appears to simply feature the letters A to Z, a closer look reveals that the arrow connecting them forms a happy smiley face, symbolizing Amazon's ability to provide customers with everything they need and make consumers happy. Even though these messages may go unnoticed, they still have the potential to influence our thoughts and attitudes towards a brand or product. Subliminal perception refers to the ability to process information that is presented below the perceptual threshold, but influences thoughts, feelings, and actions. In other words, the information is not consciously perceived by individuals as it is presented briefly or covertly, but it can still influence thoughts and behaviors. A classic experiment on subliminal perception was conducted in 1957 by James Vickery, an American marketing researcher. The study involved displaying flash messages such as drink Coca-Cola and eat popcorn for a brief second during a movie screening in a theater. Although the messages were too quick to be consciously perceived, they still managed to boost sales of Coca-Cola and popcorn. While this method was highly manipulative and unethical, it did provide evidence that subliminal messages could influence consumers' behavior at an unconscious level. Since then, numerous studies have demonstrated the potential influence of subliminal messages on consumer behavior. Even if the marketing messages and stimuli are too brief or too faint, they can still influence consumers' decision-making process. For example, one study found that when consumers were primed by the Apple logo, they showed higher creativity scores compared to when they were exposed to the IBM logo. Consumers also answered more honestly after they were exposed to the Disney Channel logo compared to the E-Channel logo. Subliminal messages in advertising are designed to communicate with consumers at a level below their conscious awareness. Advertisers use various techniques to make the messages subtle and not easily noticeable, such as using hidden images, sounds, or words that are presented quickly or at a low volume. The purpose of these subliminal messages is to influence consumers' attitudes, behaviors, or purchasing decisions without their conscious awareness or critical evaluation of the advertisement. Marketers hope that these messages will create a positive association between the advertised product and the consumer's subconscious desires or needs. Here is an example of a subliminal message which is subtle yet clever. Pepsi originally released an image that made the viewer think and chuckle a bit, as it humorously implied that getting a Coke when you wanted a Pepsi is a frightening experience. This type of messaging is subliminal because it operates below the level of conscious awareness. In response, Coca-Cola created an image that was a perfect counterpoint, demonstrating that sometimes the tagline can really make the image. Another example is the brand logo of Baskin-Robbins. The company is well known not only for its delicious ice cream, but also for offering 31 different flavors of it. If you take a closer look at the logo, you will notice that the end of the B and the beginning of the R create the number 31. Through careful use of color contrast and positioning of the brand's initials, this subtle message is revealed just enough to help you recall what sets Baskin-Robbins apart from other ice cream shops. Another example of subliminal messaging can be seen in the FedEx brand logo, where the white space in the logo forms an arrow, cleverly symbolizing the company's speed and efficient delivery. All these examples of subliminal messaging aim to leave a lasting impression on consumers. However, the effectiveness of subliminal messages in advertising is still a topic of debate, and the evidence supporting their effectiveness is mixed. Some studies suggest that subliminal messages can have a subtle effect on behavior, while others argue that the effects are negligible or non-existent. Despite this uncertainty, marketers continue to explore various methods to communicate their messages to consumers, including subliminal messaging. Even if the results are not always apparent, it is clear that marketers are willing to experiment with different techniques to engage with their target audience. All right, that's all for today's topic. If you have any questions regarding this video, please leave your thoughts in a comment below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I will
So, learning. It is the process by which consumers change their behavior after they gain information or experience. There's operant or conditioning, a type of behavior that's repeated when it's rewarded. Prizes and toys and Cracker Jack boxes and McDonald's Happy Meals. A free sandwich after a certain number of purchases. Or free car washes when you fill up your car with a tank of gas. Gamification, strategy of building a game component into a product to encourage consumers to buy a product or use it more. So, like Peloton's exercise bike. Attitudes. Attitudes are mental positions or emotional feelings, favorable or unfavorable evaluations. Action tendencies people have about products, services, companies, ideas, issues, or institutions. They tend to be enduring and hard to change because they are based on people's values and beliefs. So unlike personality, personality is your characteristics, right? But your attitude is your belief or your position on certain things, and it can be emotional or it can be just like, oh, I just don't like that, or I love that, you know. Societal factors. So The all of these bleh, also frame what marketing professionals need to put into consideration when they're targeting their uh, market. They need to make sure that the culture or the subculture, social class, reference groups and opinion leaders, or family are considered. Um, Even if you're targeting young people, what is their environment? What dominant culture is there? What subcultures are uh, branching off from that main culture? What type of social class are they from? All of these questions are very vital in your marketing campaigns. Consumer cultures. Culture is a group of people with shared beliefs, customs, behaviors, and attitudes. A subculture is a group of people within a culture who are different from the dominant culture, but have something in common with one another, such as common interests, vocations or jobs, religions, ethnic backgrounds, geographic locations. Cultures that share the same values may not be consistent in purchasing behavior across national borders. So this means that if the um, I'm an islander, so my purchasing patterns here in the United States may not be the same as my fellow islanders from the island that I'm from. Maybe they're purchasing different things, and it's not going to be the same as what we do here in the States. Just to clarify the subculture, so there could be a culture, let's say islanders as well, but the subculture of that islander group, maybe there are skaters within that islander group. So that's the subculture of that group. Another subculture could be maybe they're into island music and they create like a subculture of that main island culture. So it could be like different beliefs from the main culture, but it's coming from that main culture. Social class. It is a group of people who have the same social, economic, or educational status in society. While income helps define social class, the primary variable determining social class is occupation. So look around your environment right now, where you live, where you go to school, who you hang around with, the groups of people you associate yourself with. Um, are they from your same social, economic, or educational status? Why are they part of your social class? What makes them part of your social class? These are examples of social classes and buying patterns. I'll let you look over these. Pretty straightforward, we all know. A working class person is not going to go and buy a Rolls Royce, because not that it's impossible, it's just not um, like common sense for them to be like, oh, I think I'll buy a Rolls Royce. That is not to say, I'm not saying that a working class person cannot buy a Rolls Royce, because maybe they can, and that's up to them. But it's not the norm to see a community of working class workers driving around in Rolls Royces. Reference groups and opinion leaders. Reference groups are groups a consumer identifies with and may want to join. Movie idols and professional athletes are examples. Opinion leaders, people with expertise in certain areas. Trusted publicly known figures. So for marketing professionals, there is the American Marketing Association that usually marketers join to network and gain ideas or expertise from other marketing professionals. Influencers, people who have a significant amount of influence over what people purchase, not necessarily celebrities or athletes, often post online, and influencers are very um, very much used today as marketing professionals. A lot of businesses are reaching out to influencers and asking them to either advertise or post their products and services on their uh, video post, for example, on TikTok. And they're asking them, hey, can you advertise my makeup? Because I think your group that watches you would really benefit from it. Family, one of the most important determinants in buying behavior. So most children follow their parents' behavior, influence household purchases, and nag their parents for certain products. So what parents purchase right now, with if their children are living with them, if they're still elementary, middle school, high school aged, um, usually what parents purchase is because their children either need it or want it. The only risk that advertising to children is it could alienate their parents. So even though there are networks, children's networks like Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, other children's networks that have child advertisements, um, they are also showing like, oh, there's a parent in there, or maybe there's a way to link the parents into that advertisement. So yes. Consumer decision making. We have routine response behavior, which is automatic purchase decision based on limited information or information consumers have gathered in the past. This is your toothpaste, your shampoo, your cleaners. Impulse buying, purchases that occur with no planning or forethought. Impulse buying, I don't even have to explain that to you because some of us are guilty of doing this. Low involvement decisions are used for products that carry a low risk of failure or have a low price tag. Low risk involvement decisions could be a t-shirt, a pair of jeans, a pair of shoes. High involvement decisions used for products that carry a high price tag or high level risk. So this is your laptops, phones, and then up to your vehicles. Things that the price, you either have to have them financed or you have to save over time a large amount of money. Limited problem solving. Consumers already have some information but search for a little more before making buying decisions. Extended problem solving, consumers gathers a significant amount of information before making a buying decision, and that is also, for instance, a vehicle and especially a home. Involvement in buying decisions. So this is the how they are all divided up: low involvement and high involvement. These are the stages of the consumer's purchasing process. The need is recognized. You say, oh, I need milk and I need groceries for the pantry. We need to fill our pantry. Search for the product information. Maybe I want to search where can I buy organic bananas. Product evaluation, just you decide on the price. How is this price like compared to either Sprouts or Trader Joe's? Which one is better? Product choices and purchases. You decide where you want to purchase all of those food items. Post-purchase use and evaluation of the product. For food, it's usually you consume it, that's it. But for, let's say, a product such as what is put on example here, a backpack. Did the backpack meet your needs, or was it just not very well made? So then this is where your post-purchase use and evaluation of the product is. If you didn't like it, you throw it away. If you're no longer using it, maybe you hand it down to your little brother or sister, or maybe you go ahead and sell it in a garage sale or on even eBay. For post-purchase dissonance, situations that occur when experiences do not match expectations and consumers rethink their decisions after purchasing products and wonder if they made the best decision. This is this happens to all of us when especially when we're purchasing something of a large amount. So, for instance, we purchase our phones. Let's say I always used an Android and I'm moving over to iPhone. But then I realized that my iPhone doesn't do something that I needed on my Android device. So then I experienced post-purchase dissonance. Like, oh my goodness, I just spent over almost $2,000 for this phone when I was used to using an Android. The customer's journey. So marketers have begun to rethink a buyer's purchase decision as a journey. Why do some customers travel with a company for the long haul? Companies are developing customer journey maps to walk a mile in their customers' shoes. A company also wants to get an idea of the emotions customers experience at each stage when they do business with it. Are they delighted? Are they disappointed? Or somewhere in between? If you have any questions on this presentation, I know it was long, I'm sorry, but this information is really important because it will be part of a quiz or an exam that's coming up. So I advise you guys to really watch this, learn the concepts, read the information, and then if you have any questions, contact me. All right, have a good evening.